Good morning, everyone. It's a chilly day, as only they can have them in August in England. You all know what I mean. I'm 23 miles from London. I'm standing by a very long, thin lake. And I'm in a grandstand. And there are 30,000 approximately people all waving and cheering. It's the London Olympics, 2012, and I'm watching the end of the men's 4 rowing. And in a few minutes it's over, and I'm proud to say that my nephew, Alex Gregory, has won a gold medal for Great Britain. Sorry, it's Great Britain. The US came third. This is Alex winning at that time. And this is Alex on the left with his son after. And the young lady on the right is my daughter hamming it up with the gold medal. A few days later, I was at my sister-in-law's house near Oxford. I'm lounging on the sofa, and I'm watching the Olympics on the BBC, who do a great job. And the team manager for Britain is being interviewed. And the commentator is saying, "Aren't we lucky? We've done so well in the London Olympics." And the manager says, "No. We got 1 gold in Atlanta in 1996. We just got 28 golds in London. There was a plan. There was financing from the lottery. We built facilities. We focused on certain sports. We went around the world to find the best coaches, and we scoured the country to find the best talent. This was not a fluke. This was a good plan. It would work in any sport. It would work in business." And that's what kind of caught my attention. So this is me back in San Francisco, talking to my management colleagues about, let's have a 4-year plan. Let's get serious. Let's think it through. Focus on what we can do. And people got quite enthusiastic. I was surprised. In fact, they ran a little bit with the Olympic idea. And that soon became part of the plan. But let me pause for a moment and just take a few minutes to tell you about my company. We're an investment management company. We've been around for 40 years. I've been there 30 years. We're independent, employee-owned. We do a lot of things ourselves. We're about 50 employees. And we see ourselves in 4 areas: wealth management, some institutional specialized equity strategies, mutual funds, a very small part. We're a sub-advisor to mutual funds. And we have a commercial real estate arm. In 2012, we had $1.8 billion under management. Now, here's a couple of slides from some of my colleagues once they started running with this Rio idea. The plan got nicknamed Rio 16. And this is from one of the groups just sort of really getting into the spirit of things. And we really loved the Olympic rings. That was a great symbol of this. And in every presentation we did on this, we always had the Olympic rings. And we were able to nicely put our 4 business segments into it. But damn it, there was a 5th ring. And yet we loved the symbolism of all this. And it caused us to think, and we said, on any 4-year plan, there ought to be something new you're doing at the end of the 4 years. So we're going to leave it there, and we're going to put something in for new ventures. So there's the plan, $1.8 billion to $3.6, a very bold plan to double assets. And all the different areas have their challenges and their goals, and we even put something in the new business idea. One of my colleagues on the Alliance noticed that this really was a bold plan, because on this chart, which shows our assets under management going back to 1972, we're breaking into new territory here with this plan. They probably thought I was a bit crazy at the time. Now, lots of good ideas also came from my Alliance group. One of them was the book, The Boys in the Boat. I don't know if many of you have heard of that book. It came out about 2012. And it's about the American Olympic team of 1936 8 rowers, not 4, but 8, that went to the Olympics, Hitler's Olympics. So a great story. And a great story for business management, because as CEOs, aren't we all in the job of finding the right people to put in the boat, getting them in the right position in the boat, and making sure they work with each other in the boat? So it was a really good book. Another great idea my Alliance colleagues had was to bring some medal winners to come and speak to my company. Easier said than done, but I did manage to get Alex to come over a year later, bring his gold medal, give the company a pep talk, and it was just great. We had everybody listening rapturously to this. Very, very motivating across the whole company. I also brought in another medal winner, a bronze medal winner from water polo, John Parker, a number of years ago. He gave a good talk, and his lesson was, you know, we never believed we could get the gold. And we were happy to get the bronze. And he said, in retrospect, I think we were good enough to get the gold. And so I think the lesson from him was aim high. So halfway through the plan, I was feeling pretty down. Things were, you know, it's a bit of a hockey stick type plan, as you can see, and I was a little bit worried about it. After all, in most plans, things go wrong, and they did go wrong. 2 of our 4 divisions had big delays. One because we had to change the management structure of our real estate. The second one because our mutual fund sub-advisory company was sold to another company, and that held us up for a whole year. But if you believe in the deadline, you take steps to mitigate that. And we brought in a consultant to help us on the mutual fund front. We hired a high-powered salesperson for our institutional group. And we really got our real estate back on track, albeit a little bit delayed. In December of 15, I was at a board meeting. We're a private company, but we have 50% independent directors. And one of my directors, Marlis, asked me a question. She said, Peter, what happens? What are the consequences if you don't hit this plan? And I had a bit of a swallow for a moment. Fortunately, one of my colleagues jumped in and said, it doesn't matter. We are a better company for having undertaken this plan. We've got more focus. We're sharper. We've been working towards this long-term goal. We're better no matter what happens. And after that, I have to admit, I thought it was a great, great answer. I didn't feel worried about whether we actually hit the target or not. Now, in February, March of this year, something came up. What about that 5th ring? You know, where's that 5th ring? We dabbled on a few things, but hadn't been able to get anything going in the 5th ring. And then suddenly, a very large bank decided to cut back on its wealth management business and move out of a particular area. And our company surfaced as a possible company where this business could go. It's a bit unusual. It was a bit tricky. It was risky to negotiate and so on and so forth. But we actually pulled it off. And so as I stand here today, as in June and July, our 5th ring got us to 3.2 billion. And officially on my plan, we can go to the end of September. So I have a little bit of leeway. I still got a month, but I'm thinking this is maybe the silver. Why an Olympic plan? I stumbled into this to some extent, but I think it's a really good idea. I don't know if you've ever thought of this, but attach your plan to some public event like the Olympics. It's very inspiring. It's out there. It has a fixed date. You can't kick the can down the road. It requires courage, because you can't ignore the fact that Rio is going on now. It was going to happen, so you can't forget your plan. It's very noble, searching for excellence. And it's important to have a team sport, I think, to get everything in sync. In The Boys in the Boat, there are some wonderful quotes. When a rowing team gets going, they get in the swing, and everything's working perfectly. And this is from George Pocock, who's the head of every chapter. When you really start trusting your team, you will feel a power at work within you that is far beyond anything you've ever imagined. You will feel as if you have rowed right off the planet and are rowing among the stars. I mean, it's a very, we used to finish every quarterly meeting with a quote from this guy. And last, to close the loop, what happened to Alex? Well, last Friday at this time, pretty much at this time, they won the gold again in Rio. So he's pretty pleased. He sent me a note immediately and said, I met my goal. Did Bailard meet theirs?